review on the Drifta Stockton water bladder. Question is, does it work, and should you buy one? Okay, so this is the Drifta Stockton water bladder. I've owned it for about 6 months now, and we're going to go through everything you need to know about it, how it functions, and what I think of it, and some of the issues I've had with it. And I guess by the end of this video you should better work out whether you should buy one or not. Okay, now I do apologise for the sound. Don't have any fancy studios or any real fancy recording equipment just yet. We're working on that. So in terms of disclosure, I've paid for this bladder myself, and I'm happy to give you my honest opinion about it, and without any bias at all. So I picked this up just before our recent trip to Cape York. Obviously we've used it for all of our camping trips since then, so it's been about the last 6 months, and I've used it in a variety of locations all over the place. This bladder itself retails for $150. It's a 60 litre water bladder. It's gravity fed, so what I found, as long as that outlet nozzle is lower than the outlet from the bladder itself, then it's gonna pump water out, and it functions quite well. There's no issues with it the way it functions. It did come with a short hose, which I got some more because I just needed some more length to it. It's just simply a gravity fed hose, and it functions quite well, as you can see. Just turn the knob and water flows out quite nicely. Just gravity fed. And I've got the water bladder itself just sitting on the floor of the truck, just behind the driver's seat there. Just helps to keep the weight nice and low with that water. 60 litres, so 60 kilos worth of weight. It's important to keep the weight nice and low. There's 2 breather tubes here, or filler tubes, that you can use. The way I use it is I just basically hook up a hose to this end, plug it into the tap, and fill the car, or fill it from the car. So once it's got water in it, it's 60 kilos, so it's quite difficult to move. So you're better off putting it in place and then filling it up from there. The biggest problem I've had with it is the fact that, regardless of what I've done to it, you can't get rid of the plastic taste out of it, or at least I haven't been able to. Now I've tried all different options. So while we were away on that trip to Cape York, it was the first time I'd used it, but the first thing my partner noticed on the trip is that with the water that came out of it tasted like plastic, essentially. Pretty much spent the entire trip flushing it, trying to get rid of that taste out of the bladder itself. But regardless of what I did with it on the trip, I couldn't get rid of it, and we pretty much resorted to using the water bladder itself as this grey water. I've flushed it with baking soda and lemon juice multiple times. I even called up Drifta Stockton and asked their advice, and I got told to go and use, well, this is what happened basically. Okay, so I've just spoken to Drifta Stockton on the phone. They tell me that I can fix the problem with a bottle of red Cotties cordial. So we're on the way to Woolworths. Okay, so we just got our Cotties red cordial, apple and raspberry flavour. Hopefully this will fix it. Okay, so I hope this works, because I actually quite like how this functions. When it works, it actually functions well, other than the fact that it tastes like plastic when you drink from it. So I need to find a solution to this, because Mrs. won't drink out of it, just because of the way it tastes. So Cotties red cordial. So no mucking around, we'll put the whole bottle in. So it's a full bottle of Cotties red cordial into the water bladder. Now, I hope for their sake, Drifta Stockton at Heatherbury that this works, because I paid for this bladder. No one's paying me to use it, so I can say what I want about it. Full of water, 60 kilos, so yeah, moving it. So give it a swish, he said. Just let the air out too, make sure we get all of it. Yeah, so we'll let that sit overnight and flush it out in the morning and use it over the weekend and see how we go. Yeah, but even something as simple as making a coffee, you could still taste the plastic in the coffee, which is, it would ruin your morning coffee. Look, I guess my biggest gripe is that if you're going to pay decent money for something as simple as something that holds water for you, there's an expectation that you can use the equipment and it just works straight out of the box. I've spent the last 6 months stuffing around with this thing, testing the water, flushing it, doing all sorts of stuff to try and stop it tasting on plastic, and I still haven't succeeded. But I don't know. If you've got some ideas, just put it in the comments down below. But I've run out of ideas. We tried everything I could find on Google, and I've run Drifta. It still tastes like plastic. Like, one other little thing that I've noticed, and it's not a major issue for me, is that water does leak from these joins. I've used Sikaflex, I've used plumber's tape, everything I can to stop that from leaking, and I still get an issue with it. Just a slight bit amount of water sitting in the floor pan of the car. It's got a rubber mat, so just about leaking into the carpet, so it's not a major issue. It doesn't leak to a massive degree, but there's still definitely water sitting underneath the bladder whenever I take it out after a few days of being in the car. Now, I guess, in terms of my final thoughts, would I have bought this again if I was going to have this issue? No, I wouldn't. I would have got a different option. I probably would like to stick with the water bladder option. I do love how it functions. In that sense, it works really well. But the tasting has been a bit of a letdown, and my partner, she won't drink from it, so it's no good to me in that sense. I guess I just like the bladder because it sits nicely into the footwell of the car. It doesn't move around, doesn't slosh around, and yeah, I find that since it works really well, it doesn't bang around or cause any banging and clanging in the car across corrugations and whatnot. So yeah, so just quickly, that's what I think of the Drifta Stockton water bladder. If you like the video, do me a favour, just click the like button down the bottom there, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.